everybody. We're so glad you're here. Could you guys stand up for me? That would be great. We're going to just spend a little bit of time worshiping our God, so let's do it. As I reflect, I find perspective. They're in the best and worst days of this life. You're always by my side. You're in the pain, you're in the promise. And on the days the furnace finds my faith, you're the fourth within the flames. I don't need to know what the future says, 'cause if the past could talk, it would tell me this: my God isn't finished yet. If he did it before, he can do it again. So I'll trust him with what comes next. For the God I know is known for faithfulness. Yeah, my hindsight says I can trust him with what's next. For the God I know is known for faithfulness. There's more ahead than what's behind me. Just through the highs and lows and in between, God, you go ahead of me. And when you call me, I will follow. If the water folds beneath my feet, you pull me from the deep. I don't need to know what the future says, 'cause if the past could talk, it would tell me that my God isn't finished yet. If he did it before, he can do it again. So I'll trust him with what comes next. For the God I know is known for faithfulness. Sing it out. My hindsight says I can trust him with what's next. For the God I know is known for faithfulness. Woo! My God isn't finished yet. If he did it before, he can do it again. So I'll trust him with what comes next. 'Cause my hindsight says I can count on this. My God isn't finished yet. If he did it before, he can do it again. So I'll trust him with what comes next. For the God I know is known for faithfulness. Yeah, my hindsight says I can trust him with what's next. For the God I know is known for faithfulness. Let's give God a round of applause.
All right. Woo! This is the appropriate time to come up on a Wednesday night. How are you guys doing tonight? Yeah, you guys can have a seat. Thank you guys so much, band. You've been killing it every week, and it's been awesome. Kingsley, it's good to have you here. I don't know if you guys have met Kingsley yet. He's kind of new here, and he's doing a great job. Wow, let's keep the applause going. We are officially in, hang on. We are officially in, last week I declared, Vertigo season. Yeah. It's always hard to get hyped for something when you don't know when it's appropriate to get hyped. It is appropriate. This is the right time to get hyped for Vertigo. It's Vertigo season. Next week, we're kicking things off with a little something we like to call Vertigo Remix. Now, just, I know that one thing that's important to you guys is team spirit and camaraderie. And one part of that is you guys want to know what your team colors are, right? Do you guys want to know what your team colors are? So we were trying to figure out, okay, when do we announce the team colors? When do we do all this? So I decided, you know what? Let's just bring a little bit of showmanship to it. So I am on the CrossPoint students' Instagram, and I have queued up all of the teams, all of the team colors. I queued up a caption. All I have to do is click share, and you guys will know your team colors. Does that sound exciting? All right, so anyways, another thing we're doing next week. Nah, I'm just kidding here. If you are on our Instagram, you can see us. If you're on our Remind, we'll be posting it in a little bit. If you've got a friend who's on Instagram, you could check it right now. All of you guys are on your phones. I should have known this would happen. But yes, the teams for Vertigo Remix have just been announced. Just a reminder, this is just for Vertigo Remix, not for Vertigo. The team colors will be different. Some of you are excited. Some of you are not as excited, and that's all right. Another thing we have going on starting Monday is what we call Winter Week. If you are registered and signed up for Vertigo by this Monday, you'll be entered into a chance to win some really awesome prizes. Some prizes are, we'll send somebody to go and get some snacks for you during Vertigo. I made this announcement last week, and I got a lot of heat for it, especially from Kyle. I announced that whoever wins on Tuesday will also win 50 points for their team for Vertigo. And I was told that that's a lame amount of points. And to that I say, I'm 50 points richer, baby. And you know what? Let's up it. If you win on Tuesday, if you are the winner of Winter Week on Tuesday, I'll give you 55 points for your Vertigo team. So just so you know, when you start Vertigo on Monday morning, you know that you are 55 points ahead of everybody else, and that's exciting. Of course, none of this would be exciting if it wasn't for Vertigo itself, the event of the year, one would say. Sure, yeah. If you keep hearing us talk about it and you're tired of us talking about it, it's probably maybe you don't really know what this is about. It's awesome. It's where it's our summer camp. We get together, we head up to the mountains, and we spend like 5 days learning, praying, reflecting, worshiping, having a good time, playing games and such, and it really is awesome. And so if that's something you're interested in, you could find us at crosspointstudents.org to register, all right? I think that's it for the... Oh, also, just so you know, if you are new here, what's up? My name's Paul. It's nice to meet you. If this is your first time here, we would love to get to know you. You can go say hi to our friend Shara in the back. She's wearing that. She's waving that glowing rectangle. Go and see her, and she'll get you all sorted out. We'll get you in a small group, and it'll be a good time. I think that's it for the announcements. That's our Vertigo season announcements. But Vertigo Remix is next week. Yeah. You do have to register for Vertigo Remix. Thank you, 6th grader over there. You do have to register for Vertigo Remix as well. It's very easy. It's free. It doesn't take a whole lot. You were already on your phones anyways. It's just a few extra steps. Thank you so much. Anyways, I think that is it for our announcements, unless I've forgotten anything else, which is entirely possible. What I have not forgotten about was today is a special holiday. Can anybody tell me what day it is today? Just yell it. It's St. Patrick's Day. Hoity, hoity, toity, toity. It's St. Patty's Day. There's this, that was my Irish accent, by the way. There is this tradition in St. Patrick's Day where you wear as much of your green as you can. This is a green jacket of mine, so I don't get pinched. It's also corduroy, so you'll hurt yourself if you try to pinch me. So we've decided we have this game tonight, and I like to call it What's in the Box? And this is What's in the Box, St. Patty's Day edition. Now, here's how this is going to go. Danny is in the back. Hopefully, he's found it. Yes, Danny's in the back. He's got this box of stuff. Oh, he doesn't have his keys. That's okay. I do. I have my keys, not your keys. Never mind, I don't have my keys. You're on your own. Anyways, in this box is a St. Patrick's Day themed item. Now, here's how this is going to work. I'm going to bring someone up here, and they're going to get a minute to ask me as many yes or no questions as they can. If they can successfully guess what's in this box, they get to keep whatever is in the box. Does that sound good? Let's just say some of these items are cool. Some of them aren't. So, and the way we're going to decide who gets to play is I've been looking around the room. I've been scoping it out. Whoever is wearing just a lot of green will get to play. And I get that there's a lot of you guys who are wearing green. Hayden, do you want to come up here as our first guest? Thank you, Danny, so much. So here's how this, come around this side. Don't look in the box. Here's how this is going to work. I'm going to give you this microphone. You get 1 minute of unfiltered yes or no questions. Use your best judgment, though, okay? Yeah, you can speak into the microphone. And here's the deal. If you can't guess what's in this microphone If you can't guess what's in this box in under a minute, the audience will get one chance to guess. You can ask as many yes or no questions as you can in a minute, and into the microphone preferably. Huh? In a minute, okay. Are you ready? Minute goes on the clock, so you can start right now.
Okay, is it St. Patrick's Day themed?
Yes.
Kind of. Is it green?
Yes, it is.
Is it clothing?
No.
No. Is it like a keychain?
No.
No. Is it plastic?
What?
Is it plastic?
A lot. There is parts of it that are plastic.
Parts of it plastic? Yeah. Okay. There's so many things that are plastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's almost like this game is meant to be difficult.
I know. It's almost like it's difficult. Oh, I'm at a stump here. That's pretty difficult. Is it small?
Is it small? Yeah, I'd say.
It's pretty small. Yeah. Is it like a necklace?
No, it is not a necklace.
Is it cheap? Pretty cheap?
Yeah, relatively.
Yeah, like a dollar store type of thing?
Huh?
Like a dollar store type of thing?
Ish in there, yeah.
Kinda, okay. Oh man, Ben, this is really hard.
You got 15 seconds.
Okay, is it like, no, it has plastic in it, it's not socks. Okay, who yelled at me? What are we doing?
Does anybody just want to give out an answer for Hayden's?
This is so difficult.
I just put you on the spot here. Does anybody else want to ask one? I'll give you guys one question. Yeah. Is it a four-leaf clover? It is not. Well, okay, I'll give you, so that's the audience guess. It was not a four-leaf clover. In fact, it was a green stapler. I've wanted to throw in, well, actually, Danny's kind of in charge of putting them in there. But give it up for Hayden. I need somebody else. Yeah. I need the next person. I need someone else who is decked in green. I see a lot of fingers. Yeah, okay, yeah, come on up here. I saw you hanging out. Every article of clothing that this guy had, it's green. All right, you can come up here. You can come up here, sure. How's it going?
Is it on?
Look at all the green. Here, come around here. Don't look. What's your name?
Matthew.
What's that?
Matthew.
Nice to meet you, Matthew. Do you want this stapler?
Sure.
Here, you can have it. Okay. But I see you're wearing a lot of green. You got 1 minute.
I'm in it to win it.
You got 1 minute. Okay. You can ask as many yes or no questions as you want of what's in this box. Okay. Do you feel up to the challenge?
Yes.
All right. The minute starts right now.
Is it St. Patrick's theme?
Yes.
Is it green?
It is.
Is it small?
It is not smaller than that.
Is it is it like a toy?
It is not a toy, but it is enjoyed by children.
Do you put this on your...
No, you do not wear this item.
Is it a tool?
It is not a tool. But children would really enjoy this item, and most adults. Oh yeah, there's some help from the audience. Yeah.
Is it a type of candy?
It is not a type of candy, but it is edible. Ooh. Shh. Don't tell them.
Is it any kind of meat?
It is not wheat-based.
Meat.
Oh, meat. It is not meat-based either. I'll give you one other hint. It is very sweet. It is a sweet treat that is St. Patrick's Day themed. Would you like to give me your final guess? One would say it's a sweet meal that makes people happy. It's a happy meal.
It's a shamrock shake.
It is a shamrock shake. Matthew, that is yours. I'll take this from you. Enjoy the shamrock shake. We knew we had to get one in there, of course. Now, I saw a lot of other green in there. Does anybody else want to show off their green and perhaps win an awesome prize? I would say that they are all similar in vein to that. They're all really cool. Lindsay, I see you got a friend pointing at you. You're all decked in green. You want to play. Do you wait, hang on. You have taped a toy snake and scotch tape on you? You were just desperate for green, and you threw on scotch tape.
I didn't have any green pants, so yeah.
And you put a feather on there. This is awesome. That's great. That's awesome. All right, Lindsay, that's really cool. I appreciate that. Okay, this one is a little bit out there, but I think you'll enjoy this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Whenever you're ready, go.
Is it small?
It is the biggest thing we've had so far.
Is it edible?
No.
Is it green?
Parts of it are green.
Is it a toy?
Yes.
Is it a toy leprechaun?
It is not a toy leprechaun. It's a very basic toy.
Is it a toy teddy bear?
It is not a toy teddy bear. I will give you this. It's a toy. Also, it could be a decoration. Not a nutcracker. That's not the right holiday. But I will give you another hint. I'm finding it very difficult to keep in this box, if that helps.
Is it a basketball?
It is not a basketball, but you're close. It's spherical.
Is it a soccer ball?
It's not a soccer ball.
It's
very light.
Oh, balloon.
Is it a balloon? I will give you it is a balloon. Would you like to guess what kind of balloon for extra points? It's green.
A helium full.
It is a Baby Yoda balloon. Here you go. I'll let you win that. I saw it at the store. Saw that it was green. We're almost done. We've got two more. We'll see who we get through. I want to see the green. I see 3 hands in the back. They're all green. Shara, do you want to pick out the greenest person here? Perhaps the most envious, or the most environmentally friendly, one would say. All right. Let me tell you this. I had a treat guessing where it is. Did you take my cell phone or did I take it?
Nope, it's probably under there.
Yeah, of course it is. All right. I like the green. Don't look. I like the green. You got some green face stickers. They're just straight up stickers. That's awesome. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to give you this. All right. In a minute, as many yes or no questions as you like. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Is it big?
It's not as big as the last thing.
Okay, is it green?
Yes, a lot of it is green. It's green.
Is it edible?
Yes.
Is it sweet?
Yes.
Is it candy?
No.
Is it a dessert?
To some people, yes, but it's not marketed as a dessert.
Is it ice cream?
It's not ice cream. That was a confusing answer, but.
Is it warm?
Is it warm?
Yeah.
No, typically it's cold.
Okay,
It's served cold at least, but it's not revenge.
Is it iced tea?
It is not iced tea. I will give you a hint. The thing itself is not green, but the thing that's holding it is green, if that may help.
Oh, okay.
Do you?
Oh, is it up?
Yeah, you got one more guess. You got a few more questions.
Is it a phone case?
Is it a phone case? It is not a phone case. I'm sorry. You really helped narrow it down. Does anybody want to take a guess as to what it is? Okay. All right. Yeah, Mr. Gray. I can't even see who you are. What is it? Right here. Yeah. It is cereal. It is the most St. Patrick's Day cereal, Lucky Charms. It is Lucky Charms, and this is special limited edition. I think that's all we have for the green items, by the way. So, band, you can head up here. It turns your milk green. So this is for you. I wouldn't recommend eating it now because you'll make a mess. But thank you guys so much for playing along and watching and being invested. While the band gets all set up, I need to invite my friend Kayla Edgerton up to the stage. She's got some really awesome things to share. And you know what? I'll let you take it away. This is yours.
So tonight we're going to be singing a song called First Love, and it just talks a lot about being on fire for God and just being willing to step out of our comfort zone for God. And it also talks a lot about how when we are on fire for God, other people can also be inspired to be on fire for God. And I can definitely relate to this because like a year and a half ago, I was really shy and I wasn't willing to really go out of my comfort zone for God. And if I did go out of my comfort zone, it was because I was scared people would judge me if I didn't. And so tonight as we sing this song, I would just encourage all of us to just pray and ask God to help us to be on fire for Him and just to be willing to take those bold steps to show His love for others. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for everyone that is here today, and I just pray that as we go on with our lives, we will just be able to show your love to other people, and people would just see our passion for God, and they would be inspired to have passion for God as well.
Can you guys stand up and sing with us? Thank you.
This is all I want. That the love I have for you doesn't fade along with you. Can you help with that? The reason that I ask, I've seen far too many friends walk away and not come back. I want more than that. I won't wash away like branches in rain. I'd rather be kindling in the light. Set me on fire like I've never known. I wanna love you more as life goes on. So all of my days I'll place my first love first again. This is all I pray over everything I ask, that my friends one day come back. Can you help with that? God, I know you can, 'cause the fire won't mean a thing if it ends right here with me. You want more than that. The river runs fast, but you wait at the banks and pull us like driftwood from the wild. So set me on fire like I've never known. I wanna love you more as life goes on. So all of my days I'll place my first love first again. Once I was drifting, but you called me home. So I'll give my life for the one still lost, and I'll see my friends reclaim their first love first again. If all I know of harvest is that it's worth my patience, then if you're not done working, God, I'm not done waiting. You can see my promise even in the winter, 'cause you're the God of greatness, even in a manger. For all I know of seasons is that you take your time. You could have saved us in a second. Instead, you sent a child. Though the winter is long, even richer the harvest it brings. Though my waiting prolongs, even greater your promise for me like a sea. I believe that my season will come, and when I finally see my tree, so I believe there's a season to come. Like a seed to a song, for the sake of us all. From Bethlehem soar, grew Calvary sequoia. Oh.
There's a grace when the heart is under fire. Another way when the walls are closing in. And when I look at the space between where I used to be and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. There was another in the fight, standing next to me. There was another in the waters, holding back the sea. And should I ever need remind of how I've been set free, there is a cross that bears the burden, where another died for me. There is another in the fight. All my dead left for dead beneath the waters. I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. And should I fall in the space between what remains of me and this reckoning, either way I won't bow to the things of this world. And I know I will never be alone. There is another in the fire, standing next to me. There is another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding what power set me free, there is a grave that There is no other name but the name that is Jesus. He who was and still is will be through it all. So come what may in the space between all these things unseen and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. I know I will never be alone. There'll be another in the fight, standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where I can see the light. I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between west and I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us. There's another in the fire, standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be.
God, I just want to thank you for everybody here. I pray that you would open all of our hearts, open our ears and our minds to whatever it is that you have to put on us tonight. I pray that you would give us all peace and give us all happiness and be able to take home everything that we're learning tonight. And I pray that you would give us all fulfillment and help us to experience and encounter your love tonight. Amen.
Hey, thank you so much for worshiping with us tonight. If you guys are new here, one of the things we try to do is worship together. Middle schoolers, we're going to be doing what we've been doing. You guys are going to be heading upstairs. For high schoolers, you're going to be staying down here, and we ask that you kind of bring yourselves in towards the front, fill in those empty seats so it's not as spread out. And we'll be joining with you here in just a second. There were a lot of middle schoolers here today. That's awesome. Cool. Well, we don't really have a cool intro here tonight, so maybe I'll make one up. Should be a... all right. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Good? Cool. All right. It's always weird whether or not that's like you don't answer that, but it's cool. We are continuing on in this series called Story Takeover. One of the things we realized is you guys could listen to the same few people over and over again every week, and I could try and present you with new information and try and debate you into loving Jesus. But when we look at the way God calls his people and the way that God sends his disciples, it's through stories. It's through the miraculous change that the Holy Spirit brings and the stories that change because of that. And so we've been hearing some awesome stories these last few weeks about how God is changing lives. And you're not hearing boring Paul again or Kyle again, but it's maybe people you haven't gotten to hear from. But every story of God interacting with people is amazing. And tonight is no different. I'm here with my friend Jade. Jade. How's it going?
It's going pretty all right.
All right. Well, hopefully the night will be wonderful. Jade's been with us. How long have you been going to CrossPoint?
Since freshman year.
Since freshman year. Okay. So Jade's going to share her story tonight. I know that last week we heard from McKenna, and it was awesome. I think there were a lot of people who, okay. You're getting applauses a week afterwards. Wow. I think you'll get the same kind of treatment, though. So, all right. Sure. I think there were a lot of people who related to McKenna's story. I think that there is an equal amount of people that would relate to your story, but we'll maybe gather kind of a different, maybe a different take on it. But okay. I'm going to stop talking.
Would you actually mind?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop talking because, like I said, I think everybody's tired of hearing my voice. So why don't you just,
Just closer.
What's that?
Can you move it? Thanks.
You good.
Okay. So I kind of grew up in a household that proclaimed they were Christians, and many different people, mostly my father, would teach me different things about the Bible. However, this led me down a pretty dark path in my life, just as the things they were teaching me were pretty contradictory to their actions. And since I was young, when I was absorbing all this information, I thought that this hypocrisy was a true reflection of Christianity. I think this was especially difficult around middle school, just because I became a lot more aware of the different sins that bound my family. For example, my extended family has a lot of different problems with addiction to substances. And it was around this time when I started realizing that my father would lie to me a lot, quite a bit, to get me to believe in this sort of belief system that he had for viewing the world. I also was exposed to many different paranoid and irrational theories that my mother had for different reasons why I was made crippled and disgusting, and just that all these different people have hurt her in her life, this kind of victim complex that she has. It actually wasn't just my mother who kind of made me feel bad for my disability. It was a lot of my father too. Even to this day, sometimes he'll tell me that I'm the reason he's depressed because he has to stay home and take care of me and can't go out and work like he wants to. I really related to what Christine said a few weeks ago about living in a household where children were seen and not heard. However, that philosophy lacks a principled truth, and so I reject it. And I'll later talk about what that truth is and why I reject this. But overall, all these different things contributing to my life just around this time in middle school made me feel like a burden constantly. I felt like I was no more than my disability, or that, I was just hurting everyone around me by being this burden. I was also just so desperately confused on what was right and if my beliefs made me stupid or not, what should be and what shouldn't be. I had no example, like a good example. At the same time, I was pretty alone. I didn't have much friends in middle school just because I skipped a grade. I skipped 6th grade. And, I had all new peers in middle school, and I didn't really make any friends until late 8th grade. Anyway, so my father has this core philosophy that he likes to teach me about utilizing all your resources and using, these resources to get what you need and want in life. However, the problem with this lies in those resources being used. So to keep it short, he basically would tell me to pull the pity card to get whatever I want with my disability. And, when I was younger, right, I really liked this idea of being able to just get whatever you want. Like, what kind of kid, what kind of person wouldn't just love the idea of being able to have whatever? But it was all amazing up until the point when I realized it was less of what I wanted and more of what my father wanted for me, right? So for example, and we'll talk about this example a lot. My dad wanted me to skip 8th grade, even though I'd already skipped 6th. And, he has this idea in his head that I'm some sort of crazy genius, like a Stephen Hawking, like those social nerds and sitcoms like The Big Bang Theory. And so when he started talking to the school board about getting me to skip 8th grade, it wasn't really an option. Like, there were too many boundaries. I needed the curriculum of 8th grade, and my school counselors were desperately worried about my social competence because I didn't really have any friends. But, again, my father has this idea in his head that I can just learn everything super quickly, that I could just catch up later in high school, and that I wouldn't need this extra time, this wasteful time in 8th grade to learn it all. He thought that my intelligence would essentially secure me for life, and I wouldn't need to worry about such pathetic things as making friends or getting to know the people around me. But I would already be better than everyone, and I would have a place in society where I could get whatever I needed. However, I wound up just not skipping. There were too many boundaries ahead of me, and skipping 8th grade wasn't really something that I wanted, and because of that, I wasn't going to try and make it an option for myself. I knew my limits, and I knew I wasn't actually smart enough to live out this narrative that my father wanted for me, and that I needed this curriculum, and if I didn't get it, it would really mess up my plans later in high school. It was right around freshman year, I suppose then, right after 8th grade, that my dad began holding this as a grudge against me. Right after just finishing 8th grade, all these new insults started pouring in about how I'm stupid for not skipping 8th grade, how I ruined the plans of everyone around me, and held them back from doing the things that they planned to do later in the future. He was stuck in hell having to take care of me for another year. These insults were just so new to me at the time, because it never felt like this narrative, this imagined option was even there. It didn't seem real. It didn't seem like something that was tangible. And, all of this just questioning, not really understanding what was there, what was real, what people actually expected and wanted of me, just made me so confused. It really added to a lot more of this confusion that I had been experiencing all the way since 11 years old when I was in middle school. However, freshman year was also the year that I started going to CrossPoint. And that, as you'll see later, really helped relieve a lot of the confusion that I experienced with knowing what the truth was and what it wasn't. I'll admit, going to CrossPoint at first was like really weird. I really hated the idea of going to church, just, for many different reasons. I kind of thought worship was cringy. A lot of the people in my small group seemed like really fake to me, kind of just annoying, not real. Of course, at first, I love everyone in my small group now. Don't worry.
Just to clarify.
But at the time, it was just really bad for me. I really didn't want to be here. But most of all, I really didn't want to be here because I thought it was going to be a repeat of like my father's hypocritical nonsense. Nonsense with things such as pride. Pride was bad, and I can't be arrogant. I acted arrogant. I shouldn't be arrogant. But at the same time, he was telling me how I'm smarter and better than everyone else, and I should act like it. Kind of just like this duality of hypocrisy, accepting some sin and not others. So as a result of this just duality and confusion, I just thought everyone was secretive about sin. I thought people just acted like they didn't have sin on Sundays, but continued living out their life the next day with sin. I certainly didn't see any changes in my family, even after really inspirational messages. I thought, my agnostic self at the time, I thought these Sunday messages were so inspirational to me, and it made me want to change. And yet I saw nothing of my family who claimed they were Christians. However, I also knew that if I were to hypothetically bring up these concerns to like a pastor, that they would disagree with me immediately, that there's no way. And so as a result of that, I thought that the church was just a bunch of blind conservative freaks that were just so ignorant of the things and the corruption that was going on around them. As I kept going to church, though, I realized that a lot of the underlying things that I was experiencing with my family were wrong, especially with my self-worth. I began realizing that I was not worthless for not skipping 8th grade. I was not a burden hurting everyone with my disability and just needing physical care. And I shouldn't feel bad to ask for help when I need it. And while it wasn't really a concern of mine, because I was already pretty used to just being alone and not having many friends, but I also learned that it wasn't pathetic to crave companionship. And in fact, God gave me unconditional love and companionship already, and even encouraged fellowship. What the Bible and church did was give me the truth in a way. After really connecting with God and just spending time with Him, learning about Him, I could pinpoint any and every lie around me, and eventually the lies stopped affecting me. Basically, what He told me was, why be upset over things that are false in the first place? And it was so powerful to me. I realized that all these things that I was basing my worth off of were false. This wasn't, of course, without conviction. I did have a bit of a superiority complex, like towards the beginning of my spiritual journey, just because of all the things that I was being told, all the different people telling me that I was just better than everyone else. However, when I was first coming to CrossPoint, we were doing our separation of church and hate unit, and that helped break a lot of those misconceptions that I had experienced with, just thinking that the church was ignorant to their problems. I think everything in my spiritual journey, though, clicked with James when we were doing our James unit and reading that book, because it answered a lot of my questions about just why I was going through such misery at home and internally. See, God gives us these trials to test us, sometimes extremely difficult trials that are essentially meant to make us better people in the end. And hearing that really gave me this new kind of confidence, this new strength. It really calmed me down and made me realize that perhaps the things that I'm going through were meant to happen, and in fact, I'm strong enough to fight it. I feel like a lot of people have this idea in their head that, if God was real, then why am I going through so many different problems in my life? Why is God giving me all these problems? And it's because of that underlying concept that He is giving us these things to test us. But most importantly, I think what James did was it completely destroyed the lies that I had experienced about self-improvement. The entire book was filled with different means of conviction, and I learned that in order to truly call yourself a Christian, you must be avidly aspiring to reject your sin and to act and love like Jesus did. It leaves no room for wallowing in your sin and just refusing to take action for the better of yourself, like I had thought it left room for when I saw no attempts to change in my family, when I saw no attempts to change in different Christians around me. What the Bible did for me was it served as a complete unlocking of this unwavering truth that's inside all of us through the Holy Spirit. When you spend enough time with God and really just understand what He wants from us, you can begin to see what's wrong with the world, and you can start speaking out against it like Jesus did. I'll give you an example of when I did this recently, or when God spoke to me recently. So a few months ago, I was texting with a classmate online, and I was seeking out his political views, actually. I have like this habit of seeking out different people with unpopular opinions at school just so I can get a grasp of their point of view and escape all that secondhand information around me and just understand like why they think the way they do, pick at their brain a little bit, but not in a manipulative way, but just understanding them and giving them the benefit of the doubt in a way, I guess. So despite this supposing to be like about his political views at first, we actually landed on a much more interesting topic about humility and pride. I don't even really remember how it got to this point, but he started telling me how he thought, those quote-unquote most popular people at school were stupid and they had the least to offer society. And, they were all just in the rat race for popularity and didn't really know what they were doing in life. And basically he said that making friends with these people, or just making friends with bad people in general, will drag you down from that high standing that you already have the potential to be at. In short, I kind of told him he was wrong to his face. We argued about it for a little bit until I realized he wasn't really going to change the way he thought. And but he was extremely wrong. And it goes back to this concept of humility and pride, right? He already thought that he was better than the people that he claimed, the popular people who were below him. And it's interesting because humility states how others place our high standing. We must take the lowest standing until others bring us up, because we cannot judge ourselves righteously, and we cannot think that we're better. He wasn't really religious or anything, so I don't think I brought up my sources, but I do remember telling him that we are all equal and we all have the exact same amount of potential as everyone else, just because I felt like he needed to hear that. Guys, our potential is not wasted by our past actions or our past feelings, but it is brought and given to the world by God and through God. Everyone has a purpose that God will bring to light eventually, but the first step is, of course, to mold yourself into the person that God wants you to be. I also bring up my past terrible feelings towards the church, not to validate your anger if you are hypothetically in the same situation as I was, but more so to convict you, because I know some of you aren't going to want to be here right now, and I want to tell you that that gives you no incentive to resent the church. If you keep coming, I promise that things will get more comfortable, just as you see all these different misconceptions around you get broken, and you can start seeing the truth. The truth of God can truly make you unstoppable. It can debunk any pain and fear that you might have. But the first step is changing yourself for the better through God and making yourself who He wants you to be. I also don't mean to shame like my family or my classmate, because they all have unique stories, they all have a unique purpose, and I really have no right to judge their hearts or maybe the own sins and struggles that they're going through. But I did want to bring it up just because I know that some of you will also be having challenges at home, struggles to face, and I want you to know that those things can be bad examples, and you shouldn't be basing your understanding of a whole concept on a bad example, on that secondhand information. Don't let yourself get manipulated. Don't let your perception of Christ get changed by someone who could be leading you in a bad direction.
That's so good. Thank you. Give it up for Jade again. That's awesome. What I really appreciated about your story, and one of the things you brought, and I think so many people can relate to this idea, there was this idea of you were told by so many people that you're this way, that you are, you were told that you were a burden, and you were told that you were, the reason for all these bad things. But then at the same time, you were also told, like, well, you're also better. You're also, you're the Stephen Hawking of this generation. I think so many people in this room go through that idea of this, like putting ourselves down, and then also this superiority complex that I think we all get. But both of those things, and you mentioned, they go back to humility, right? Yeah. What Jesus says about us is, we're not Stephen Hawking, but we're also not, we aren't what we say we are, we're what he says we are. And so I wanted to kind of ask you about that. You talked about this a lot, but I think so many people go through this, like, how do you see humility play out in your life now? Now that you've kind of been doing this a little bit, how do you see it come up in your life?
I think it has a lot to do with kind of like that give and take. As I said before, I don't mean to shame or judge anyone that I know around me. So it's kind of just recognizing that you yourself are also equal to everyone else. And so even people that you see who sin, even people who I see that sin, I can't think of myself as better than them for not doing the things that they do. Because, again, we all have that same purpose. And so it just means treating people that I know who might be struggling with things, and treating them the same as I would treat myself, as I would treat anyone else who I thought was even better than where I am.
I think that I like that you brought that up too, because there are characters that show up in your story. You've got your parents, you've got that classmate, you've got all those church people who were all those things, and you could super easily, and I think we do this, make them just side characters and not have to worry about them. You could look at your dad and just be like, yeah, but he was not great to me, so he's out of my life. But one thing I noticed you do, I don't even know if you caught this, but one thing I noticed that you do is you're constantly thinking about how your story influences other people. Yes. I noticed we talked on the phone, on the computer a few days ago, and you had said, I want this story and I want this space to be a safe place for everybody, where everybody can come and learn about who Jesus is. Do you mind kind of elaborating a little bit about how you see your story influencing other people?
Honestly, that's a question that I really struggle with, because day to day, I always feel like the attempts to help others kind of go, not necessarily unnoticed, but I feel like I'm not really making an impact on the people around me. And I worry that I'm not making an impact on the people around me, that I can't help them, that there's nothing that I can do to help them, that my help and advice is unwanted. So I think if we were to go back to your question, I do everything that I can to try and make others feel safe. I do everything that I can to give them advice, to give them unbiased advice, and to really just give them pockets of wisdom, to help them with any other struggles that they might be going through, and giving them different perspectives on it.
And I think that kind of goes back to that humility you were talking about. You could listen to these things and say, like, I don't have anything to share with anybody, or it's so small it goes unnoticed. But the cool thing about Jesus' story and how Jesus interacts with our story is, like, and McKenna even brought this up last week, it's like, you don't have to clap, sometimes, and oftentimes, Jesus takes the things that we don't expect to be anything and he makes them everything. And so, and we may not even get to notice that, but I guarantee you, Jade, that even just hearing this story, may have just been 30 minutes, but it's incredibly impactful. And so I wanna give you that before we wrap up. I do want to give you that opportunity. If there's one thing that you could give to somebody who was maybe in your position a few years ago in your situation, what would you say and what would you encourage them with?
Reach out to the people that you think might be wrong. And also at the same time, don't let your perspectives, your opinions get influenced by people who might be wrong, and people who might be setting a bad example, people who aren't doing what they should be doing, not practicing what they preach. Focus more on the concept. Focus more on following like the principle that is right. And not ignore the things that are wrong, but don't let that manipulate your entire concept of something.
That is, I feel like there's nothing else I can really talk about right now. So before we get off and go into small groups, do you mind if I just pray for you? If we just pray for you, and then we'll send you guys to small groups. God, I thank you so much for Jade. I thank you so much for the person that you have molded her to be. God, I thank you that you were persistent, even when there were times and there were seasons where she was being told so many lies. And honestly, all of these students, God, that they are being told so many lies about who they are. God, I thank you for the persistence that you have in these people's lives, that you can take stories and you can make miracles out of them. God, we love you so much. We lift Jade up to you, and we pray that her story is able to do to her what it did to everybody else, what it did to her. We love you so much. In Jesus' name, amen. Jade, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. We're gonna head to small groups. One thing I've been hearing small group leaders doing and hearing small groups doing is have everybody else go through your story as well, because Jade, that was an awesome story. I guarantee you that everybody here has a story as amazing as that. Thank you guys so much, and you're off.